Hello there, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of My Dirty Laundry Diary. My name is AB, and yup, we're here. Listen, this past week, I backtrack, stick to the intro. I hope this past week was good for you, and if it wasn't, I'm proud of you for getting through it. My week, I have no idea what I'm doing, and I'm really annoyed with that, and really frustrated with that. And I would just prefer to sleep a copious amount, a horrendous amount. I would just like to, you know, but that doesn't solve anything. So, unfortunately, I have to keep getting out of bed. Don't know why or who decided that was the way things had to be, but yep, yeah, yeah. With that being said, this week's episode, there's no rhyme or reason or theme or anything. It's just going to be a word vomit episode, which, if we're being honest, most of mine are. So, buckle in. One thing that did stick out to me this week was a post I saw on Instagram, which was from, oh, I hope I say this correctly, alishba.archives or alishba.archives. And they posted a reel that says, I only have two hands, and so every day I have to decide what I can carry. Regret is a waste of a hand, and so is anger. One hand is almost always reserved for hope, the other carries what's left of me. And that stuck out to me for many reasons. I've talked about here before briefly how I used to be really, really angry all the time as a kid because of my circumstances, which, fair. I was dealt a low ball, if you will. And I'm not hard on myself for that. But there are also days, like how I said just a couple of seconds ago, I just want to sleep. There are days where I carry a very big weight and I just want to sleep. And I find myself in recent days having to make the conscious effort to loosen my grip around that to allow other things. Like the desire to be outside. I love to be outside. I like to go for my walks to work and I like to see creatures and people and feel the sun. So sometimes it's not necessarily about focusing on the positive or making everything good because that's exhausting and sometimes you literally can't do that because your brain won't let you. It's also frustrating that you have to do that. For me, I should say. Maybe I'm just an angry person. I don't know. I am my father's daughter. Anyways, sometimes it's just about loosening your grip enough on one thing to allow a different thing in and holding on to that other thing. Or allowing that other thing to fit in the grip. If that makes sense. There are some days where I just wake up and I can't, I'm in a bad mood, and it's not that anyone did anything wrong or that I did anything wrong or that there's anything wrong with that particular day. It's just unfortunately my brain is chemically imbalanced all the time. She is just going a mile a minute in every direction. And there are medicines that can help, and if you so choose that route, I hope nothing but success for you. But I am currently unmedicated. And I like that. I, how do I explain this? It is a gift that I am at a point where I can work through the things that I struggle with, but I also know that unfortunately, my diagnosis is a forever diagnosis. There's no miraculous cure that will stop my brain from being the way it is. There are just things that I can learn that will make it easier or more manageable because that's what it is. It is not, it can be a death sentence, but it's not guaranteed that way. In the same way, my joy and happiness is not guaranteed. And I have to learn how to make even the most difficult days things that I can get through and livable. And I think that is where I'm at right now. I'm just spending all my energy on making life livable because I am. Ooh, sorry. It just kind of hit me right now. There's tears in my eyes. I'm miserable. I'm really sad. And it's not because of this amazing opportunity I have, but it's because I don't. Hmm, how do I word this? I used to be someone who was so full of life and so excited to take risks. And I took a big one, and life didn't go great after. And then I kind of hit a, I don't want to say rock bottom, but I definitely hit the lowest point I'd ever been in my life. And now I'm at a stable point. But I'm miserable. And I thought so little and I thought myself so undeserving that I let myself stay miserable and convinced myself I was fine. And recognizing and realizing that has been a very difficult pill to swallow. And like earlier today, I hung out with my older brother, and he's very anxious for me, which I understand. I'm making a big life choice, and I nothing is certain, and I have to figure so many different things out right now in such a short amount of time. And he said to me today, he's like, I'm nervous. Like, I'm freaked out about this, but I want you to know that you deserve this. And it's very nice to hear from someone who I look up to. It's very nice to hear that from someone who's important to me, like my big brother is. But it also was a shock to my system because I realized that I was not saying that to myself. I wasn't looking at it as this is a thing that I get to have. And I know I did an episode previously where I talked about you just deserve good things because you're alive. And I do. I do. So why wasn't I thinking like that? I was thinking people felt bad for me and they took out, you know, did it because they felt bad. I got into the school because, she's a poor kid with a little experience. And I I guess I just kind of realized, oh, I look at everybody else in this way, but I still see myself as this broken, poor kid, sad kid. And I think people are doing things for me out of sympathy, not just because I'm a person and that they're good or they're kind or they think that I am deserving of it. And that was weird that was really weird. And it put a bit of a weight in my chest because I like to, especially when I think about, I've mentioned my previous relationship before on here, and I think of all the self growth I did and how I used to think of so little of myself. I put up with that from another human being just to realize I've been putting up with it from myself. Just, there's so many people out there that say you are your own worst enemy, and that hit me like a ton of bricks to realize that I didn't even think of myself as deserving. I just thought someone took a whim on me. That's a really hard pill to swallow. And I find myself looking in the mirror, wondering who that person looking is. I got so comfortable in my misery that I lost who I was. And now I'm energetic again and I'm goofy again and I have the chutzpah again. But there's a part of me that's still really tired. And wants to stay in the little cocoon we built, which, if I've learned anything, means it's time to break out. And that's terrifying. It's exciting, but it's also really terrifying. And I have no control over anything. My anxious thoughts will not make anything concrete. And I know that, but it still feels just like a, oh gosh, oh golly, oh goodness. And because I'm so overwhelmed by that, I find myself on my phone more, maybe watching videos more, or reading on my phone more, or playing phone games more. And those are, if they help keep me calm, those are great. But then, like earlier today, my brother was coming over and I wanted to clean up a bit, and I realized how much I've been lacking in cleaning because I get home and I'm just on my phone, or I'm reading, or I'm just not even present because there are so many things that I'm feeling and so many things going through my brain that I don't want to sit with them. And in the same way, when I think I said this a couple weeks ago, that I just wanted to wake up and be at the timeline where everything's figured out. I'm not there yet. And I'm finding myself doing things that make the time pass so I can just get to the next day. Like, oh, I'm going to go on my phone and I'm just going to be on my phone for a little while. Oh, and it's bedtime now. I'm going to sleep and wake up and I didn't do anything around the house and it's fine because tomorrow's a new day and maybe tomorrow I'll have it all figured out. And I'm still doing things, like I'm still trying to find a place to live, which is not going well. Fun fact for you, it's not. And I think I might just have to do, not that you need to know this, but temporary housing and keep my apartment up here, which is, we're not going to talk about the financial implications of that. But I think it just is what I have to do, which makes my skin crawl. But it is it's an option. And I'm trying to figure the things out, but it's still not figured out. So I'd rather just be in La La Land, I guess. And it's not even like I don't want to do it, someone else do it for me, or like from a point of laziness. It's just from I'm so anxious about this. And there's this weight of anxiety of not having it figured out. And then there's the weight of, oh, I have it figured out, so it's real. And then I know my brain, so even if I have it all figured out, I'm still going to be anxious about something else. And that's really exhausting. My brain is constantly going from the next thing to the next thing to the next thing to the next thing. And it's exhausting. I want to just be able to be excited, and I can't because I don't have it all figured out. And I was talking to someone in my life about it earlier this week, or this past week, I should say. And she was like, you also need to remember that this is something you're meant to enjoy. You're not meant to be stressed the entire time you're down there studying. Like, you were given the opportunity for a 6-week program. For someone like you, this is once in a lifetime. For so many people, this is once in a lifetime thing. It is not guaranteed to give you anything back, so you make sure that when you're down there, you're enjoying it. You can't just keep being stressed the whole time. You're wasting your time. And it's just like this past week, so many big things clicked for me. I know I've talked about it previously on here where sometimes I just go in my head and I'm not present. And it's not that, like, I'm present, but there's so much weight on my shoulders that I'm not me, if that makes sense. I feel like when in like the the Mucinex commercials or like the cold medicine commercials where you're like a sluggish version of yourself, it feels like that, but I'm not physically ill. Knock on wood. I'm just carrying just this massive weight, and I didn't even realize I was carrying it until I started talking to other people. And it's not like I'm not talking to other people. It's just, oh, it just so happened that these people said the things I needed to hear. So yeah, I guess really all I'm going to say is I'm exhausted, and the only thing I have enough energy for is to make the active choice to loosen my grip and come what may into my palm. Sometimes it feels like my grip is around my own throat, and I need to loosen that too. I think sometimes there's there's so many different ways to do things. Focus on the big picture, focus on the small steps. Do this thing. And we try to do it the best way possible, but there's no best way. It's just you make a choice and come what may from that choice. So I have no idea what I'm doing. And sometimes when I loosen my grip on my exhaustion or around my own throat, it lets other things come out, like tears or a scream or a sigh of relief or the ability to focus on joy. And it's not like I made the bad choice by loosening my grip. I just made a choice and whatever came after came after. I think I'm just so focused on I'm so scared to mess it up, and I'm so scared that it's going to happen again. the same thing that happened last time. I took a really big leap for my future, but I'm not that person anymore. And I'm better equipped. And this is my dream. So I have to try. And I know whatever will come of it, I will be fine. I will get through because I've gotten through the worst stuff imaginable. But it's really scary. And I think it's really setting in how scary it is. And that's a lot. Sorry. And it's really lonely. I'm not alone. I have great support. Oh my gosh, I have incredible friends that are supporting me, and like my big brother earlier today telling me that I deserve this. But when you take a big leap of faith that's for yourself, it's not always talked about how doing things for yourself means you do them alone. I'm leaving my comfort zone. I'm leaving the apartment I've lived in for a while. I'm leaving the town that I discovered who I am and lived my early 20s in. If I do temporary housing, I will have to leave my cats and find someone who can stay with them. It also feels like I'm just like closing a chapter or leaving a part of myself here. And not in a bad way, like I'm losing myself, but in the same way when I left like my childhood home, or if you've left your childhood home if you had one. It's like I'm tucking myself into bed and I'm giving myself a kiss on the forehead and good night, sleep tight, it's okay. And this new version of me is gonna keep going on into the big world again, into the great unknown. And that's so cool because there was a time where I didn't want to be here. It doesn't make it any less scary. And I just, wow, you know? Wow. I don't know much about anything, really. I know that I'm meant to be an actor. I know that it's gonna be fine. I know that I'm kind, and my name is AB. I know that I love my cats, and that I've got great friends and really good older siblings. I know that it's gonna be fine. It's just the middle part that I'm not too sure about. I've also really recently been thinking about absolutes like that. And is it Stephen Colbert? Will ask guests occasionally, like, what's life? What happens to us when we die? And I like I like to pick apart things like unknowns like that to try to make it more broken down and more understandable for me. And so, what happens when we die? I have no idea. I just know I won't be bipolar anymore. And what happens after this program? I have no idea, but I'll know that I've completed it. And what happens tomorrow? I have no idea, but I know that it's Monday. I think breaking it down like that makes it a bit more palatable, swallowable, digestible. I think sometimes I just have to say that to myself. And then I can kind of swim my way through the rough waters. It doesn't always work, but it might for you. Yeah. I think that's it. I've cried 3 times. I don't have many words left to say. And the Sabres game. Oh my gosh, they're going against Boston. Tune in if you can. I'm going to try my hardest. Yeah. Yeah. Come what may, it's all going to be okay. And there's another good quote. Maybe growing up is just becoming your younger self again, but this time learning how to love her or them. That's a good one. I think that's where I am right now. I am back to the once lively and vibrant person. And this time I want to make sure that I support her and I keep going and I do her justice. And that means recognizing that I'm deserving of good things. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for tuning in. I hope I hope this next week's good. If it's not, tell it to fuck off and kick its ass. We got this. Look at us. Whoa. Yeah. Okay. I don't have any other words, I don't think. Task for this upcoming week. Tell someone to fuck off. Even if it's yourself. Have a great time. I'll talk to you next week. Bye.